Because what we refer to as human really begins only after survival is taken care of. Only when survival is fulfilled, the traits of being human will find expression. Till as long as we're struggling for survival, we are also just another biological entity like any other creature. So what does it mean to be human? What is the significance? Because every other creature can fulfill almost everything that most human beings are doing without so much fuss. We are born, they are also born, just like us. We grow up with lot of fuss, they grow up without much fuss. For us, earning a living is a very big thing. All of them earn their own living. We may reproduce, they reproduce. We die, they die. All this we do with enormous fuss. They do it without much fuss, in an eco-friendly manner. They conduct their life. Everything is a big fuss. Why it is so is, human life is not fulfilled by fulfilling the basic requirements of survival. If you could eat well and everything would be okay, then it would be very simple to feed the world. But that's not how it is, because for every other creature, nature has drawn two lines within which they live and die. For a human being, there is only a bottom line, there is no top line. He can aspire for anything. Because there is no top line, people are struggling. Or in other words, what we are struggling with is not our bondage as usually popularly it is said. We are truly struggling with our freedom. We can be whichever way we want, that's our struggle. If our lives were fixed like every other creature's life, we would also be stomach full, we would sit peacefully, isn't it? Hello, I'm talking to you. Yes, sir? Are we in talking terms or is there a problem? Hello, no? Yes! By the end of the evening, you may have problems with me, that's understandable. Right now, why? The first time I stepped into Seema, First time I stepped into Seamandra after the new state happened. So let's be on talking terms. Do you see that if our lives were contained like that of an earthworm or a grasshopper or a cat or a dog, we would have no issues, stomach full, everything fine. Because our lives are not contained, or because there is no top line, we can aspire for just about anything. That's our struggle. This is an evolutionary problem, in the sense. What we are struggling with actually is our intelligence and awareness. Probably some scientists have been suggesting this, that so-called serious scientists who suggested this, we are calling and shocking that they actually suggested this. They said, when a child is born, if we do a small brain surgery, we can take away most of the crime on the planet, everybody will be peaceful. Actually, if you take away half the brain, nobody would be unhappy. You could feed them with a tube and everybody would sit here peacefully. You won't need any yoga, meditation, nothing, if you remove half the brain. If you take away the possibilities, the problems will go away, everybody knows that. Yes? If you keep all the possibilities open and still you are not a problem, that's a wonderful way to be. No possibilities, no problems, that's not life, that's death. So, what is this solution for the human predicament? Because no matter what happens, seems to be unfulfilled. Right now, living in this town, whatever aspirations you have, the moment it is fulfilled, you have the next aspiration, isn't it? No matter where you are in your life, whether you are the king of this town or you're down there, you want something to happen in your life. If that happens, you want the next thing to happen. If that happens, you want the next thing to happen. So why are you going in installments like this? Suppose I make you the king or queen of this planet. Don't look at me hopefully. Will I commit such a blunder? Suppose we make you the king or queen of this planet. Would you be fulfilled? I'm asking. Would you be fulfilled? No, you would want the other planets and the stars and the galaxies. Because there is something within a human being which is not willing to settle for any boundaries. It is aspiring for a boundless possibility. If you're seeking boundlessness, seeking it through physical means is a hopeless case. Your aspiration is fantastic because if you really look at it, sitting here, if you really look at it, suppose right now you become the king of this planet, you were not satisfied, we made you the king of the solar system, not satisfied, we made you the king of the universe, not satisfied. If you really look at this, what you're aspiring for is infinite nature. Your aspiration is fantastic, but the means is miserable in the sense. Suppose you're driving your car today and you saw the moon and you felt like going there. Sometimes the advertisements are so exaggerated, they told you, if you really floor the accelerator, it will go to the moon. If you try very hard, you may go beyond the moon, but you will not go to the moon. Yes or no? Because a car is not a suitable vehicle to go to the moon. You need another kind of vehicle to go to the moon. So similarly here, through physical means we are trying to become infinite. Its aspiration is wonderful, but the vehicle is miserable because the nature of physicality is like this. Physical means it comes with a defined boundary. Only because there is a defined boundary, we can call this a physical body. If I take away all boundaries of this, can you call this a physical body if it is everywhere? Physicality means, the fundamental nature of physicality is a defined boundary. Without a boundary, there is no physical nature. But right now there is something within you which is constantly aspiring to break the boundaries. Just look at yourself and see. Suppose we imprison you in a 5 by 5 cubicle, you will be very miserable. Tomorrow we announce your liberation and release you into 10 by 10 cubicle. It will be wonderful for a day, but again you'll feel miserable. Then day after tomorrow we'll release you into 100 by 100 cubicle. You will feel great for 3 days, again it's the same thing. What I'm asking you is, it doesn't matter how big the boundary is. The moment you realize there is a boundary, you want to break it. Yes or no? This is the nature of the human being. It doesn't matter. All kinds of pacifist philosophies have been taught, be content with what you have, don't aspire for more than what you know, do not… all kinds of things. It's not work for a single human being. It only works when you're sick or when you're dying. You're sick and down today. Today if I tell you, you should not aspire for anything, be satisfied with what you have, you will say, yes, anything is okay, just get me well. Tomorrow, once again the energy is back, ready for something more, yes or no? Only when you're beaten and down, then these philosophies will work. For a healthy, living human being, these philosophies of be happy with what you have doesn't work. Now, does it mean to say a human being has to be eternally in turmoil, eternally in struggle? No. What we do in terms of our aspiration is just this. Essentially, nothing is going to fulfill us unless we touch a boundless state. And boundlessness is not going to happen within the limitations of the physical. When I say within the limitations of the physical, right now your whole experience of life is limited to the physical. See, your experience of life right now is happening because you can see, you can hear, you can smell, you can taste and you can touch. This is the only way you know that you are here, isn't it? Yes or no? Now I don't know whether you're there. Hello? Are you there? Because some of you, if you go like this, then you don't know whether the world exists or not. Because you're still alive, the world is still on. Only thing is the 5 sense organs. You're not able to see, hear, smell or taste. Suddenly the world vanishes and you also disappear, isn't it? This is the nature of your experience. It is through 5 sense organs that you're experiencing everything. These 5 sense organs cannot perceive anything other than the physical. You can only see the physical, you can only hear the physical, you can only smell, taste and touch the physical. That which is not physical is not within the ambit of these 5 sense organs. So if you do not transcend the 5 senses, there is no possibility of experiencing anything beyond physicality. If you do not experience anything beyond physicality, this longing of wanting to be something more endlessly going on, you are not looking for more, you are looking for all, and all is not possible through physical means. Because of this, because of not realizing this fundamental nature of our existence, without knowing how this functions, how the human mechanism functions, without knowing that because we are plunging into life, just being peaceful has become such a big issue. Even the so-called spiritual leaders are going about saying, peace of mind is the ultimate goal of life. I want to ask you this. Today, if you want to enjoy your dinner, at least you must be peaceful, isn't it so? See, I can also sleep. If you want to enjoy your dinner, if not joyful, at least you must be peaceful. Otherwise you cannot enjoy the food that you eat, you cannot enjoy the people around you, you cannot enjoy the nature around you, you cannot enjoy your work, you cannot enjoy your activity, nothing, isn't it so? So I'm asking you, is peace the ultimate goal of your life or is it a basic requirement? It's a basic requirement, isn't it? But this has been postponed to heaven. People are saying the ultimate goal of life is peace. They will only rest in peace, believe me. I happened to go to Tel Aviv in Israel to speak. So I'm flying in from Atlanta in the United States and I'm supposed to land there in the morning and speak at 6:30 in the evening. But some delays happen and I land there at 6 in the evening. I have a reputation in the last 33 years, I have not been late to a single event in my life. So, unfortunately, even going on time has become a big virtue. It's simple sense to be, if you want to be somewhere, you must be there on time. Basic sense, isn't it? But it's become a great virtue. Anyway, I landed there, changed in the airport, went straight to the venue. I'm famished because I'm traveling in an American airline, you can't eat anything on that airplane. So, I'm really hungry and to my pleasant surprise, I found the venue where I'm supposed to speak is a large restaurant. Can't be any better when you're hungry. Restaurants are famous for different things. Some restaurants are famous for their food, some are famous for the ambience that they have, some are famous for the conversations that take place in the restaurant. This restaurant is supposed to be famous for its conversations. It seems the most intelligent conversations in Tel Aviv happen in this restaurant, not in the parliament. So as I went in, people were coming and they were greeting me and one man came and said, "Shalom." I said, "What does it mean?" He said, "This is the highest way of greeting." I said, "That's your opinion. What does it mean?" He said, "No, this is really the highest way of greeting." I said, "That's okay, what does the word mean?" He said, "It means peace." I said, "Why would peace be the highest way of greeting unless you're born in the Middle East?" In South India, if somebody comes up to me in the morning and says, "Peace," I say, "What's wrong with you?" Whatever you're deprived of naturally becomes the highest thing. If you've not eaten for 5 days, if God comes, what do you say? Food, nothing more. So whatever you're deprived of raises to heaven, that's not the point. But you look at your life and tell me, to be peaceful, to be happy, to be joyful, is it the fundamental requirement of your life or is it something that you will attain after you go to heaven? Such people who think who will be joyful only in heaven must go today. Isn't it? Because we need joyful people in the world. We don't know what heaven is populated with, but we know what kind of people populate this place. And most of the people are going around in the street miserably. Not anything wrong with their life, they just made a habit of misery. Yes. People are driving their dream cars. Just see how many joyful faces do you see on the street. Leave those people who are very poor or not eaten properly, unfortunately we still have such people. But I'm talking about reasonably well-to-do people who have eaten well. How many joyful faces do you see on the street? See, here, who is the yogi, you or me? Let's decide this. Because if you want me to sit here without batting an eyelid for the next 2 hours, I will simply sit here without moving an eyeball. It's a long practice. You can't compete with me on that. Are we in a talking mode or no? So to be peaceful, why has it become so complicated? To be joyful, why has it become so impossible for a whole lot of people to be joyful? Now, there are many ways to look at this. Simplest possible way is, see, every human experience has a chemical basis to it, in the sense, let's say you lost your peace. If you lose your peace, what happens? Usually people at home get the first dose. you go and yell at them. Then if it continues tomorrow, you pick a quarrel with your neighbor. If it continues tomorrow, you yell at people on the street. Continues tomorrow, you go to your office and shout at your boss. When they shouted at your family, when you shouted at your family, people thought it's normal, unfortunately. But the moment you start shouting in a place which is going to have serious consequences for you, people know you need medical help. You shout at your boss, then they know you need to go to your doctor. So they took you to your doctor. Initially the doctor tries to talk you out of it. It doesn't work, so he throws a pill into you. A pill means what? A certain amount of chemicals. You put this chemical in the system, at least for some time you become peaceful. Maybe not forever, but for a while you become peaceful. If it is not at all working, nobody would pop it. It is working in a limited way. Or in other words, what you call as peace is a certain kind of chemistry. What you call as joy is another kind of chemistry. What you call as love is another kind of chemistry. What you call as misery is one kind of chemistry, stress is another kind of chemistry, anxiety is another kind of chemistry, agony is one kind of chemistry, ecstasy is another kind of chemistry. Now we're talking about a technology with which you can create the right kind of chemistry, where to be blissful is natural for you. So is this the ultimate goal? No. It is the most basic requirement. If you want to live sensibly in this world, you must be at least be joyful and peaceful, isn't it? There is substantial scientific and medical evidence today that only when you're going through a certain level of pleasantness, your body and your mind functions at its best. There is no more any doubt about it. You know it by experience, but now there is medical evidence to show you, only when you're joyful and peaceful, your body and your brain works at its best. If you want to be successful in the world, it's only a question of how well you harness this body and this brain. I know many people are trying to harness the stars. A whole lot of people are trying to harness the stars. No, if you want to survive, if you know how to use these four limbs and a few brain cells, you can survive. If you want to succeed in a big way, if you learn how to use more brain cells, it will happen. It is not an impossible task, you're only competing with human beings. So, it is not such a big task, it is just that how many brain cells are working and how many are frozen for use in heaven. This is something you must decide. Maybe there you're supposed to be under God's care. Maybe you don't need a brain, use it up here, you know. You must use it up here, don't preserve anything because they're going to burn it anyway. Yes or no? No point saving it because they're going to bury it or burn it, before that we must use it, isn't it? But that usage will be possible only when you know how to be continuously peaceful and joyful, not because something happened. Right now, people's idea of happiness is something must happen, every day you must create a drama for them. You know how happy when I got married that day? No, I'm asking you, how was your marriage? How was the every day of your marriage? That's a big question. How that one day happened, who cares? That's good for other people, not for you. The food was good, the celebration was great, other people enjoyed it. But now the question is, how is the everyday life? How do you wake up in the morning, how do you go to bed? Isn't it so? This quality, if it is not good, you as a human being will not rise to your full potential. So being blissful means being in a constant state of pleasantness. Pleasantness means, if this body is pleasant, we call this health. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it pleasure. If this mind becomes pleasant, we call it peace. If it becomes very pleasant, we call this joy. If these emotions become pleasant, we call this love. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If the very life energies become pleasant, we call this blissfulness. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call it success. This is all you're looking for, isn't it? Yes or no? You want your insides pleasant, you want your outsides pleasant. Those who don't make it here, they think it'll happen in heaven. Yes. If you do not achieve it here, you create a hope that somewhere else it'll be pleasant. If you are so sure heaven is such a pleasant place, I think you should proceed today. We can make Vijayawada a better place. Those who believe there is a better place up there, why don't they go there? I don't know why they're staying here and torturing everybody. Those who think there is a better place up there must go. Those who know they gotta live well here must live here, isn't it? Yes or no? You don't like what I'm saying? That's a problem, because so much nonsense has been fed to people, sense is not popular in the world. Now, 15,000 years ago, a yogi appeared in the upper regions of Himalayas. Nobody knew where he came from, his antecedents were completely unknown. So people gathered around him because he was such a phenomenal presence. A large group of people gathered like this. They expected him to say something, do something. He did nothing, he said nothing, simply he sat. If I simply sat here for 2 hours, I can imagine. Within 15 minutes, those people in the last few rows, and they will slowly, till there's time for the cinema, let's go. If I said nothing for 2 hours, 90% of the people will be gone. If I said nothing for 6 hours, only a few hardcore ones will hang on, rest are all gone. Same happened to him. He said nothing, did nothing, simply sat still. Not for a day, not for a week, for months on end, he simply sat still. Everybody was expecting a miracle. Nothing happened, he just sat. But they were missing a most fundamental miracle because the nature of your body is such right now, you're well attended to. You had lunch in the afternoon and maybe you snacked in the evening and so that you don't fall asleep, you had a coffee and maybe you have something in your bag. So many things. All these things are being attended to, so this is fine. Suppose we just make you sit here for 4 hours. Sadhguru, at least some water. Okay, drink water. After drinking water, can we just sit here, Sadhguru? That one? Okay, do that and come. Sadhguru, okay, if you give this, the next one, no permission. What is that do? Or in other words, what you call as a body is a series of processes. Only if you're attending to them, it's fine. If you don't attend to it, then you'll see what a trouble it is. When you do not attend to the body, if you're hungry or… why all that? People say, how long 1 minute is, depends on which side of the bathroom door you are. From inside, somebody says just 1 minute. Outside, it's 1 eon. Okay? Because this is the nature of the body. If you do not attend to it, it will become so compulsive and get you into such big trouble. But here he just sat. He neither ate, nor drank water, nor went to attend to nature's cause, simply he sat still. People could not even make out whether he's alive or dead. The only sign of life was, off and on, tears of ecstasy were dribbling down his cheeks, otherwise he simply sat unmoving. Then only 7 people hung on. They realized the miracle of him sitting here like this, because if he has to sit here like this, he has transcended physical nature, otherwise you cannot sit like this. These 7 people hung on. Today we celebrate these 7 people as the Sapta Rishis. These were his first disciples of the Adiyogi. Andhra Pradesh has a history of Saptarishis walking through this place, Agastya Muni came very close to Vijayawada. There are many things, but living there. So this Adiyogi just sat there, these 7 people showed interest. He told them, this is not for you, this is not entertainment. But they said, no, we're willing to do anything. He gave them a few preparatory steps. They prepared for many years. Then one day when the solstice was shifting, just now we shifted from summer solstice to winter solstice on December 22nd. It'll again happen on June 21st, and this coming June 21st is significant for the world, because this is the day when Adiyogi first gave his turn south and gave his teaching. Because the sun turned south, he turned south and started explaining the mechanics of being human. On this day, fortunately, the world, the United Nations has declared the World Yoga Day, because the yoga began on that day. This incredible process of exploring the human mechanics went into the process. This predates all religion. When there was no religion on the planet, 15,000 years ago, he went into the mechanics of what it means to be human. And various aspects happened. He opened up 112 different ways in which a human being can attain to his ultimate nature. And when people asked, especially his wife Parvati asked, why not more? Why only 112? Then he said, if you are rooted in the body, there are only 112 possibilities. If you transcend the body, how many atoms there are in this universe? That many doorways are there if you're willing to explore it. But if you're rooted in this body, there are only 112 ways. And the whole yogic system subscribes to this even today, because nobody has found more ways. Any number of yogis have explored in 1,000,000 different ways, but there is no other doorway. In this body, there are 112 ways into which you get there. What is this all about? I just want to live well. Why do I need all this? See, if you… all of you use a phone, as is the Telugu translation people definitely using it right now. The cell phone companies in India did a survey about 4 years ago. India is the largest growing cell phone market on the planet. So they were making a survey, and they found that only only 3% of the people use the cell phone beyond 7% of its capability. 97% of the people use less than 7% of the cell phone's capability. Now I'm not talking about your smartphones, I'm talking about the dumb phone. So, if they take away 90% of the software, 97% of the population anyway will not even notice. 3% complaints you can handle, you know. We don't know what they've done to us. Anyway, if this is the percentage for a simple gadget like a cell phone, for this human mechanism, do you agree with me that this is the most sophisticated gadget on the planet, this human body? Yes or no? Yes. So what do you think is the percentage of usage? The more you know about something, the better you can use it, isn't it so? Yes? We will do a simple experiment right now. You sit with your spine erect, even if you're asleep, please keep your spine erect. It helps. All the 5 fingers, you keep it together. Keep it facing down upon your thigh, like that. Don't press down, gently place, all 5 fingers together. We will do this with eyes closed, but right now you watch me, don't close your eyes yet. Holding it like this, you inhale and exhale, slightly deeper than normal, mildly exaggerated breath. As you do it, notice where the air fills up into your lungs or where the maximum expansion and contraction is. As you're doing it, if I say switch, without breaking the rhythm of your breathing, just turn it around. Again when I say switch, get it back. In these two postures, this position and this position, something about your breath will change. I want you to notice what is changing and you must tell me. You will only be able to notice it if your spine is erect, eyes closed, your mind is focused on the breath. If you do this, you will notice what's happening to your breath. Please, let's do this. Inhale and exhale slightly deeper than normal, with the hands facing down, all 5 fingers together. Switch. Switch again. Please open your eyes. Do you notice some difference between these two? If you notice this, you will see when your hands are facing down, the maximum expansion and contraction is in the diaphragm region, because the maximum expansion is happening in the lower lobe of the lung. If you turn this around, it moves to the middle lobe, so you will notice it higher up. Those who will not notice, just do one breath and see. Noticeable? So just turning your hand around, the very way you breathe is altering itself. Not just the breath, the very way your life energies function is being altered just because you turn your hands around. How many times in a day, unconsciously, do you do this? Whoever asks anything, now you're setting your energies into turmoil and hoping to be peaceful. Life doesn't work like this. Here on this planet, okay? On this planet, unless you do the right things will not happen to you. This is the nature of life here, both outside and inside. Unless you do the right things will not happen to you. Or to put it another way is, whatever is the right thing, only that will work, isn't it? Or whatever works is the right thing. There is no other way to make it happen. So this… somebody gave you a supercomputer, but your mindset is still in hammer and anvil technology. You think somehow you can make this work. This is a very subtle process. If you open this up, this can do incredible things. Things that people think is superhuman becomes normal in your life. Yoga is not about becoming superhuman, it's about realizing being human itself is super. Being human, in this vast creation, this planet, and the amount of life, millions of lives, all types of life, we're still exploring, we're still finding out new creatures after so many years. Such an incredible area of life, in that we are on top of the pile of the evolutionary process. That means in every way, we are a culmination of all this effort that has gone through from an amoeba to whatever else, and here we are. This is an incredible process. If I give you let's say you don't know what is a computer. So this happening in Tamil Nadu, everybody is given a laptop computer. Those who do not know what's a laptop computer, they're grinding chintatokku at home with laptop computer. That is also one way of using it, you can't say no. But that's not the best use for a computer, isn't it? Similarly, what is this made for? What is this competent of and what are we using it for is a question mark, big question mark. If you remember in the early 80s when you got the television, you were watching your one channel wonder. Suddenly your television went boop, boop, boop. Then there is a bunch of aluminum tubes on top of your house. Somebody went and did this, didn't work, did that, didn't work, then gently, 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 and again the world pours into your sitting room, isn't it so? Similarly this, if you just learn to hold it right, nothing else, you don't have to learn anything. Just learning to sit right, if you learn, you can download the whole cosmos. This is the possibility of being human. Because the human being is longing to be boundless, because the potential is there. If there was no potential, he wouldn't be longing. If the potential is not fulfilled, he will die unfulfilled. This is the nature of life. No other creature is longing for this. They are happy if their stomach is full. See, once you're born as a human being, this trouble started. How to become something. A tiger is born. A tiger is not sitting and wondering how to become a good tiger. Eat well, become a good tiger, that's all. He's never insecure, will I become a good tiger, will I end up as a house cat? No such struggles within himself. Eat well, becoming a good tiger is guaranteed, isn't it? You're born as a human being. How many things you have to do to be a good human being? After doing all those things, you still don't know where you stand. Only in comparison to another person, you can say, oh, compared to this person, I'm better. By yourself, you don't know where you stand. When you're just about thinking you're doing great, your teenage children may come at you and say you're no good. They've not told you yet? They'll tell you. They must tell you, because for so many reasons. So being human is an endless possibility. Either you can equip yourself to explore this possibility and live a fulfilling life, or live the life of an earthworm. I ate, I slept, I reproduced and I died. You can do this, but you will die unfulfilled. I want you to watch. I don't know how many people are exposed to this. If you see people dying, of old age or whatever, if you see them dying, you will be surprised to see 80% of them die bewildered. Not in fear, not in pain, no. They're bewildered because they didn't even begin their life. It's already ending in their perspective. Why I'm saying they did not even begin their life is, right now, I want you to look at this. This is important, I want you to look at this. Right now, what you think and what you feel is more important than everything that's happening in the universe, isn't it so? Yes? What you think and feel is your psychological space, it's your drama. You can make it up whichever way you want. This happened one day. A lady went to sleep. In her sleep, she had a dream. In her dream, she saw a hunk of a man standing there staring at her. Then he started coming closer, 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 closer. He came so close she could even feel his breath. She trembled, not in fear. And then she asked, "What will you do to me?" The man said, "Well, lady, it's your dream." What's happening in your mind is your dream, isn't it so? Yes or no? Now the problem is not that your life is not happening the way you want it, your dream is also not happening the way you want it. If your dream, in your mind right now, your thought and your emotion was going just the way you want it to go, would you be joyful at least? Yes or no? Yes. So even your dream is not going the way you want it, your thought doesn't take instructions from you, your emotion doesn't take instructions from you, your body doesn't take instructions from you. This is out of control situation. If you sit in a vehicle and it's out of control, that you take the steering and if you turn the steering this way, it goes this way, if it is that kind of a vehicle, being stressful, anxious, fearful is natural, isn't it? That's what you're seeing in the world. They've not taken charge of this vehicle and every moment is stressful, every moment is anxiety, every moment is fearful, and even doctors are saying this is normal. This is not normal. If you do not understand the vehicle in which you're traveling, you're bound to be fearful, isn't it? So I'm asking you, have you at least read the user's manual? Such a complex machine. Have you at least read the user's manual, how to use this, what to do with this? Nothing. Simply blunder into something and it's going to work. It's not going to work like that. Then to be peaceful and joyful are moments. It is all stored in the album, when they were happy. They took pictures and put it there. Because you can somehow work it out here and there, but it doesn't last. See, let us look at this. It is not that you do not know what it means to be peaceful. You know peacefulness, you know joyfulness, you know happiness, you know blissfulness, you know ecstasy. Only thing is you cannot sustain it. That's a problem, isn't it? One moment there, one moment here, one moment there, one moment here. This happened one day. On a certain day, a bull and a pheasant were grazing upon the field. The bull was chomping on the grass, the pheasant was picking ticks off the bull. There was a huge tree at the edge. This is the kind of music you listen to in this town? No, I'm afraid. India has such a profound sense of music, No other culture has such complex, sophisticated music. What's going on? So there was a huge tree at the edge of the field. The pheasant looked up at the tree very nostalgically and said, "Oh, alas, there was a time I could fly to the topmost branch of the tree. Now I do not have enough strength in my wing even to get to the first branch of the tree." The bull very nonchalantly said, "That's no issue, just eat a little bit of my dung every day. Within the next 15 days, within a fortnight, you will get to the topmost branch of the tree." The pheasant said, "Come on, what kind of rubbish is that?" The bull said, "Really, just try and see, the whole humanity is on it." Very hesitantly, the pheasant started pecking at the dung. And lo, on the very first day it reached the first branch of the tree, within a fortnight it did reach the topmost branch of the tree. It was sitting on top of the tree, just beginning to enjoy the scenery. An old farmer was rocking on his rocking chair. He saw a fat old pheasant sitting on top of the tree. He pulled out his shotgun and shot the bird off the tree. The moral of the story is, many times even bullshit can get you to the top, but it never lets you stay there. See, I want you to understand this. If you are happy, if you are joyful by your own nature, you can work, you can create things, you can get married, you can bear children, you can build this, you can build that. But right now you're trying to work it the other way. Miserable people, they think by getting married they're going to become happy. Two miserable people, they will multiply misery, not joy. If you're joyful by your own nature, everything becomes a fruitful process. If you're miserable and you think a particular action is going to make you joyful, it will last for one day and then tomorrow morning everything is different. The fundamentals of human experience is happening within you, isn't it? So when the whole experience of life is happening from within you, the quality of your experience is determined from within. At least what's happening from within you must happen the way you want it, isn't it? If this experience of right now, if your experience of life happened the way you want it, would you keep yourself ecstatic or miserable? I want to hear that, please make a choice. Highest level of pleasantness, yes or no? If you had a choice for yourself, highest level of pleasantness for yourself, what you want for your neighbor may be debatable, but what you want for yourself, it's very clear, isn't it so? You must make this very clear to yourself. If you had a choice, you would choose the highest level of pleasantness for yourself and nothing else. But the whole experience of life is happening from within. If it's happening from within, who should decide? Now why we have come to such a thing is, right now, we think it's all happening from outside. It once happened on a certain day. Shankaran Pillai, you heard of him? Yes. Shankaran Pillai was going home. Rules at home. 8 o'clock he must be home. He looked at his watch, it's only 7:40, still 20 minutes there. So, he thought he'll have a quick drink and go. He got into the local bar. He had a quick drink and a quick drink and a quick drink and a quick drink and a quick drink. Then it says 2 a.m. You know, drinking people are like yogis. They become timeless. No sense of time. Kala Bhairava, you know? So he saw it's 2 a.m. For sure it's late. So he tried to get off this high stool and go towards his home. But it's such an unfair world. Any number of people every day chanting this, how unfair the world is. Shankaran Pillai suddenly realized what an unfair world it is, that a man is asked to walk on a round planet. How unfair is it? And it spins. Tell me. He just tried in every possible way. It was very difficult. Is it fair that a man should walk on a round planet which is spinning all the time? With great difficulty, he was going in the direction of his residence, and he tried to cut through a garden and walk towards his house. He fell headlong into a rose bush. His face became a mess. He somehow gathered himself, went to the house, and you know the keyhole, they make it so microscopic. He searched everywhere. It took 20 minutes to find the hole. Then he opened it, somehow crawled into the bedroom. Fortunately for him, the wife was a big sleeper. So he crawled into the bed and wanted to sleep. Then his face was hurting, then crawled out, went into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, it was a real mess. So he opened the medicine cabinet, applied medicine, put band-aid, plaster, everything, and crawled into bed. Morning 8 o'clock, the wife took a bucket of cold water and splashed it on him. He woke up, waterboarded. And he said, why, it's only a Sunday? She said, you fool, again drinking? He said, honey, 6 months ago I promised, after that I'll not touch the drop. She grabbed him by the shirt and took him into the bathroom. She showed him. All the plaster was on the mirror. This is what you're doing all the time. If there is any unpleasantness within you, of stress, anger, misery, nonsense, whatever, if there is any unpleasantness going on within you, who should be fixed? This one or that one? Huh? This one or that one? If you understand this one, then you're ready for the first step of yoga. That means you understand the solution is within me. If you understand, for your peacefulness, for your joyfulness, for your well-being, for your health, the solution is within you, then there is a solution for you. Otherwise, there is only solace for you. Don't worry, God will take care of you. It's been happening for a long time. I'm not questioning the nature of creation. See, you must understand this. What did you have for lunch today? Okay, I shouldn't have asked this Vijayawada. Say something more interesting. Don't say just rice. Doesn't speak well of your family. Say something, at least you say biryani. Something. You eat rice. Over the afternoon, this rice has transformed itself into a human being. Yes or no? Has it happened or no? What you call as myself right now, this physical self, is just what you have eaten. Yes or yes? This is an accumulation that you gathered over a period of time. Just what you have eaten. What was a piece of planet became food, what was food became you right now. What is a piece of carrot? over the afternoon becomes a human being. Isn't it fantastic? There is an intelligence here. There is a possibility here which is capable of transforming a vegetable into a human being. You ask Charles Darwin and see, how long does it take for a carrot to become a human being? He will speak in billions of years. Here you are, the wonderful man that you are. Over the afternoon, you can transform or evolve a carrot into a human being. Is it a simple phenomena, I'm asking you? The very source of creation, if it is not here, can you transform a carrot into a human being? Is it possible? Whatever created this universe, if it did not exist here, could you make a vegetable into a human being? Is it possible? So if the very source of creation is throbbing here, how you should live? If you never look inward, you go about fixing stupid things around you. If you turn inward and realize this potential, you will become magical. Everything becomes magical in your experience. Either you live mundane or you live magically, simply depends on where you're looking. If you look inward, everything becomes magical. If you look outward, everything turns mundane. This is a choice every human being has. Because the very basis of your experience is within you. The seat of your experience is within you. Whether it's joy or misery is caused from within you. When it is so, should you not take charge of this? Should you not take charge of this? You're expecting somebody else to make happiness for you. It's never going to work. Somebody else, we want to fix somebody else for the ambience. They cannot bring happiness to you because it happens within you. Peacefulness, happiness, pleasantness, unpleasantness, whatever is the nature of your experience happens from within you. So for this, how to generate this, how to make this work the way you want it. So this whole mechanics, he started, Adiyogi explored for many years, and he gave this elaborate knowledge to the world, and then asked these 7 people to go in 7 different directions in the world. One went to Central Asia, another went to North Africa, another went to South America, another went to Southeast Asia, one came down to what we call as the Indian part of Himalayas, one stayed with him, and one more, who is very important for us, Agastya Muni, came down south. He is known as the father of southern mysticism because he did not spare a single human habitation south of the Vindhyas. In the Deccan Plateau, he made sure every single human being who lived in this place had some sense of spiritual process. Spiritual process means just this. This is not about looking up, looking down, no. This is just this, somehow to transcend the limitations of the physical. In your experience of life, something more than the physical is happening to you means you're spiritual. When I say something more than the physical, I want you to understand. Right now, what you call as physical is an accumulated process, isn't it so? What was a piece of the planet? You gathered. It is not something that is yours. You have gathered it and continuously it is changing. Every day as you eat and as life goes on with so many things, you're not living with the same body. It is continuously in process. Something is coming in, something is going out, it's happening all the time. So what you call as my body is just planet Earth. You must get it right now, that this is not you, this is just something that you accumulated. If you get it now from me, you can live a fruitful life. Otherwise, one day you will get it from the maggots when it's too late. You know, everybody will get it one day, but the sooner you get it, the better it is. When I say this is not to create some bizarre images in your mind. The thing is, this is the most fundamental thing. What you are and what you are not, there must be a separation. See, right now, there is water in this vessel. Is this you? No. If you drink it, will it become you? See? Whatever is not you becomes you should just include it into yourself. So this inclusion, trying to include, is happening in many different levels because this is the longing of a human being. He wants to be something more. When they want to be something more, the most basic way is to eat more. They'll become something more. The next level of inclusion is sexuality. What people are trying to do is, what is not you, you're trying to make it a part of yourself. But all these things are not successful ways of doing. If you try physically to become one with something, it seems to be successful only momentarily and then it'll fall apart. If you try emotionally to be part of somebody, you really believe you become part of somebody, but if you've lived long enough, you know you fall apart somewhere. No? I don't want to destroy your romance, but I'm just telling you. If you try mentally, it gets labeled as conquest or ambition or simple shopping. You're trying to include something as a part of yourself. When you consciously do it, when your very energies include everything, now we call this yoga. Yoga means union. What is you, what is not you has become one. How is such a thing possible? See, right from the most fundamental thing, if you drink this water, that which is not you becomes you. If you eat this rice, that which is not you became you. Yes or no? So the possibility is there in every day. Life is demonstrating to you what is not you can easily become you if you're willing. So what is not you out there, as we went through this already, what is not you through your eyes is entering you and become a part of you, isn't it? Yes or no? Is it happening within you right now? See, I am happening within you, not here. If you had no eyes and no ears, I would not happen to you, isn't it? So this process of perception can be enhanced from where it is to a very high degree, to a point where the whole existence can happen within you. If the whole universe happens within you, then we say you are in yoga. Yoga is not about twisting your body, yoga is not about standing on your head, yoga is not about holding your breath. You are in yoga when everything has become you. If you sat here and right now, you experience all these people as yourself. If you did, after that, do I have to teach you morality? Do not harm this person, do not kill this person, do not rob this person. Do you need this teaching, I'm asking you? Morality is a back door. Spirituality is the front door. Spiritual process means not that we imagine something up there. It is just that you broke the limitations of your physicality, and if you sit here, suddenly you realize everything is happening in one big unison. This has scientific basis today. Modern physics is telling you the whole universe is just one energy manifesting itself in a million different ways. If it is so, why is it that you don't experience it that way? Why you do not experience it that way is because your identification with your physical form has become so strong. Though this rice was not you, in the afternoon it was sitting in your plate, you could have either eaten it or left it there, but now it is you. There is no sense of separation between you and your lunch, isn't it so? Yes or no? It's become one with you. So because it's become one with you, you are so identified with it that you think you are that. The moment you think you are something that you are not, even medically you qualify for insanity. Do you know this? See, suddenly I take this vessel and say, this is my vessel. Then you will think, oh, Sadhguru has some problem. But let us listen some more. Everybody says he's wise. Let's listen some more. After some time I say, this is me. Then you will say, let's go. Because something that's not you, if you think it is you, you have lost it, isn't it? Please tell me, this body, yesterday what was not you, has it become you today? Many things, yes or no? And you say, this is me now, lost it or no? Now, this process of knowing what is you and what is not you is most essential. Without this, you will not get to use the body, you will not get to use your mind to its fullest possibility, because you're entangled in it. Right now you're tangled up in your own body and in your own mind. You cannot use it unless you have a clear separation from it. How is this possible? You've heard of a word called Buddha, have you? Yes? What Buddha means is, it's not… we're not talking about a person. When I say Buddha, you always think Gautama the Buddha. Gautama is not the only Buddha. There have been many before him and many after him and still are. Bhu means buddhi or the intellect. Dha means dada, one who is above. One who is above his intellect is a Buddha. One who is trapped in his own intellect is a non-stop suffering human being. That's what is happening right now. And one who is below his intellect does not have much suffering. What should we call him? We can call him a Buddhu. Below the intellect means Buddhu, above the intellect means Buddha. In the intellect means everything is a struggle. So, the life which was below the intellect has now evolved into the intellect. Now the only way out for this to evolve beyond it, no question of going back, you can't go back in the evolutionary scale. But people are trying this when they get too stressed out, they want to have a drink, they want to do a drug. What this is they want to go below the mind for some time. It gives a relief for a while, but then life catches up with you in more ways than you have known before, because you unnaturally escaped by using chemicals or whatever. You can only evolve beyond the mind. If you are above the mind, if you're out of the mind, if somebody tells you you're out of the mind, don't feel insulted, it's the greatest compliment you can get. They're saying you're a Buddha. Out of the mind does not mean madness. Madness is of the mind. If you're out of the mind, no possibility of being mad, isn't it? Now, this fundamental thing of knowing what is me, what is not me, how can I make this happen within myself? This does not take you to withdraw to Himalayas, this does not mean you have to give up everything and stand on one leg for 14 years, nothing. If one is willing to invest a few minutes a day, it will come into everybody's life, because this is not alien to you. This is something that is being activated which is already within you. Do you recognize this much? That the source of creation definitely must be within you if all this has to be created, such a complex system. From what? From rice balls, from vegetables, you create such a sophisticated machine. Source of creation must be definitely working from within you, isn't it so? Do you agree with me? So if the very source of creation is working here, the best way to live here is to find access to that, isn't it? If you have access to this, health, happiness, everything is taken care of. If you have no access to it, it's an extraordinary circus which will anyway fail. This is the circus that you're seeing in the world. In imitation of the West, we as a nation are going that way. When we said, I think in the initial, they were chanting Bharatam Mahabharatam. Bharat means Bharata. Bha means bhava. Bhava means sensation. See, right now, you know that you exist only because of your sensation. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching are known as sense organs because they create different sensations, and that's how you know it. That's how the neurological system is functioning. These are sense organs, so this is bhava, this is the perception. All perception is through senses right now. Raga means the tune. This is not your business. Existence has set its tune. Now you have to find the right tala. If you find the right tala, it becomes great music. If you don't find the right tala, the raga will crush you. Some people are feeling that they are being crushed by life. Some people are, floating around in life. It just depends whether you found your tala or not. If you did not find your tala, it'll crush you. If you find your tala, you have no business to change the raga, because this is creation, it's way beyond your understanding and experience, isn't it? What this creation is too vast for you to change the raga of it. You can't change the raga, it's there. But you can find your tala. If you don't find tala, it'll go. So this whole culture evolved around this, how to find each individual must find his own unique tala, so that his music of life will be on, his dance of life will be fulfilling. Now, there is no other culture which was created so consciously. Most cultures were created. Depending upon the geographical and other survival patterns, cultures were created. Here a culture was created, how to evolve a human being to his ultimate nature. Maybe till about 2 generations ago or at least 1 generation ago, the only orientation for this culture was liberation. Not God, not heaven, you must understand this. In this culture, God is not the highest entity, Mukti is the highest entity. Liberation and freedom are the highest entities, not God, not heaven. We think, we know that if we go and sit in God's lap, there also we will get bored after some time. Yes or no? If we go to heaven, there also we'll get bored after some time. And anyway, how do you know that you're not already in heaven and messing it up? Is there any proof with you, I'm asking? Hello? Do you have do you have any proof that you're not in heaven now? Maybe you're in heaven and completely messing it up. Very much possible. People can go to heaven and become miserable, isn't it so? So even if you believe you're going to heaven, at least practice some joy here. Now, this wonderful possibility of a human being exploring to their ultimate possibility is open, but right now, whatever is your immediate need also can be attended to through this. See, if you are right now joyful, you're really joyful right now, does it matter what is the cost of this clothing? I'm asking. What you're wearing, not mine. You're very happy right now. Does it matter what you're wearing, where you're living, how you are? No. But at the same time, you tell me, when are you more willing to do whatever is needed? When you're joyful or when you're miserable? When you're joyful, you can bend backwards and do things, isn't it so? When you're miserable, to get you to do anything is this is the whole management right now. How to make miserable people work. If miserable people work, they'll only create more and more misery. What else will they create? Is it not first most important that human beings enjoy? See, joy is not some kind of a goal, please understand. Now, this wonderful possibility of a human being exploring to their ultimate possibility is open, but right now, whatever is your immediate need also can be attended to through this. See, if you are right now joyful, you're really joyful right now, does it matter what is the cost of this clothing? I'm asking. What you're wearing, not mine. You're very happy right now. Does it matter what you're wearing, where you're living, how you are? No. But at the same time, you tell me, when are you more willing to do whatever is needed? When you're joyful or when you're miserable? When you're joyful, you can bend backwards and do things, isn't it so? When you're miserable, to get you to do anything is this is the whole management right now. How to make miserable people work. If miserable people work, they'll only create more and more misery. What else will they create? Is it not first most important that human beings enjoy? See, joy is not some kind of a goal, please understand. When you're 5 years of age, you're naturally joyful, isn't it? Somebody had to make you unhappy at that time. Now somebody has to make you happy. See how you reverse the equation? When you were a child, somebody had to poke you and make you unhappy. Now somebody has to make you happy. You have reversed the equation of life, isn't it? This is because fundamental perception is missing. Fundamental perception of who we are, what is our position here is entirely not in most human beings' perception. Some time ago, I was up in the air and we hit a cold front and it became very cold and we had to come down quickly because it was an open craft. Then we were just thinking, suppose sun does not come up tomorrow, what will happen to the world? So we were thinking that maybe in 6 months this will happen, in 3 months that will happen. Then I came down and researched some and I found out in 18 hours, most of the oceans will be frozen and all life will be gone as we know it, except a few microbes in the very deep down in the earth, everything else will be gone in 18 hours' time. Today morning, sun came up on time. I don't see any joy. So that's what the sun came up, so what? Okay. Sun came up on time means everything is alive, otherwise it will be gone, isn't it? Planet is spinning on time. You think it's a small phenomenon, yes. No, what's happening in your house is a big thing. Planet is spinning is not a big thing. No accidents in solar system today. Not a single accident in the whole universe, everything is going fantastic. 100 billion galaxies, nobody clashed into each other. Wow, nothing? But there is one nasty thought going around in your head, and it's a bad day. Everything is perfect in the cosmos, it doesn't matter. One little thought is determining the nature of your life, isn't it? This is just your psychological drama. You could make it anyway. You can make it joyful, you can make it miserable, you can play any kind of drama within yourself. This drama has become bigger than the very cosmos. What happens in your mind is bigger than the whole universe right now in your perception, isn't it? See, in this universe, they are saying over 100 billion galaxies and they're saying more. This solar system itself is a tiny speck. Tomorrow morning if the solar system vanishes, nobody will miss it, I don't think it's on the account books. In this speck of a solar system, planet Earth is a microspeck. In that microspeck, Vijayawada is a super microspeck. In that you are a big man. It's a huge problem. Not a small problem, it's a very big problem. So when you have no perception of what you are, what is your position in this world, what is your place, not understanding countless number of people like you and me have come and gone, they were also all smart people like us, but where are they now? They are all topsoil. Yes or no? This will also become topsoil unless your friends decide to bury you real deep, fearing that you may rise from the dead. You know, this happened. A couple from Texas, husband and wife over 70 years of age, it was their dream to travel to Jerusalem. So after they were over 70 years of age now, they made it to Jerusalem and they were going on the tour, seeing this and that and everything, and unfortunately the wife had a heart attack and she died. Then the local people, Jerusalem is like, you know, this certain kind of place. And local people came and said they can do all the rituals and everything for the dead wife, and it costs only $10,000. But if he wants to transport her back to Texas, it costs $26,000 just to transport her, and then much more there. The man became very pensive, thought for a while. Then he said, no, I'm taking her back to Texas. They tried to convince him, see, this is only 10,000. We can bring it down to 8,000. Why do you want to spend 26,000 just to transport a dead body? This is the Holy Land, do it here. It's only 8,000 here. We'll make it 8,000 for you. He said, no, I'll take her back to Texas. I said, why? It doesn't make sense. He said, in Texas, dead stay dead. So, don't look for miracles, live sensibly. Life is a miracle by itself. If you do not recognize the miracle of life, you will be looking for silly miracles all over the place. If you live well right now, this is a miracle by itself. If you don't live in a miraculous way, You will look for a miracle in your death. I think everybody else also will look for one. Now, this process that I'm talking about is not about going somewhere. This is about turning inward, because everything that you experience right now is happening from within you. Instead of looking at the source as what generates this, you're looking all over the place. You cannot fix your happiness, health or well-being from outside. You can only fix your comfort from outside. Comfort and convenience can be fixed from outside. Health, happiness, well-being cannot be fixed from outside, it has to be fixed from within. See, in the last 150 years, because of this advancement of science and technology, any amount of comfort and convenience has come to us. Never before another generation knew these kind of comforts and conveniences, yes? What even royalty could not afford 100 years ago, today average citizens are having, isn't it? Many of you are driving chariots with 100, 200 horses, aren't you? So, comfort and convenience has come like never before. We are the most comfortable generation ever, believe me. In spite of that, can we claim we are the most peaceful generation, or joyful generation, or loving generation, or anything of the sort? Because it's not going to work that way. Yes, we must create comfort and convenience on the outside, but if you do not create well-being within, all this science and technology is just going waste upon people. They're making themselves more miserable than before. Such wonderful gifts, all gone bad on people. Everything is used only for our own destruction, not for well-being, simply because we are not in a pleasant state ourselves. When we are not in a pleasant state ourselves, we do not know how to create pleasantness for everybody around us, even if we have good intentions. Miserable people having good intention is no good, because if they have good intentions, they will do unto others what they did to themselves. This is not some kind of magic, this is not some kind of miracle. As there is a science for external well-being, there is a science for inner well-being. Exploring this is the dimension of yoga. When we say yoga, today unfortunately most of the impressions of yoga are rebound from the American coast. That's not what I'm talking about. This is about understanding the mechanics of how this one functions and being able to do the best that we can do with this. And the best of what this is way beyond your expectations. What this human being can do within himself is far beyond your expectations. Nothing, it is not about earning a living, it's not about being little successful. This can do things so magical and miraculous within itself that every human being must know this. We do not know whether you will climb Mount Everest or not. I do not know whether you will become the richest man in the world or not. I do not know whether you will become the most beautiful woman in the world or not. But this much every one of you deserve. At least your span on this planet is a pleasant experience for you. This is something that every human being deserves, and this is something that every human being is capable of. Human intellect on the planet has evolved enough today to make them understand that as there is a science for external well-being, there is a science for inner well-being, and it's time to explore that. This has been on this culture for thousands of years, but being an exclusive domain, at certain times the larger population took it, at other times small groups of people kept it alive. A time has come once again where a large mass of people or the whole world takes this on and makes this a part of themselves, because well-being means people are looking up or down. See, with all due respect, let's come to this. Our ideas of other things beyond this planet are just ideas propagated by people, yes? With all due respect, I'm saying this, I'm not agreeing with it or disagreeing with it, but you don't know for sure, isn't it? This happened. I was speaking to a group of people in Nashville, Tennessee, where our ashram is. We were addressing a corporate group and I was telling them a joke. In the joke, I referred to God as Him. Immediately, a few ladies stood up and said, "Do you believe God is a man?" Whoa, whoa, whoa. I know where I'm getting it's a dangerous terrain. I said, no, I was only telling you a joke. But it doesn't matter, you said him. Do you believe God is a man? Now this is a big argument in America. Is God a man or a woman? I think they're going to try to settle this in this election. See, we have no such struggle in this country. We have a man God, we have a woman God, we have an elephant God, we have a cow God, we have a monkey God, we have a snake God, we have crawling ones, creeping ones, flying ones, every kind. Because this is a very wise culture. We foresaw all the future problems that may arise. Yes. You heard of Idi Amin, the Uganda man? Idi Amin declared, God is black. I agree with him. Because if a white man can have a white God, why can't a black man have a black God? This also they do not know. There's a big argument going on in southern churches in the United States. Is God black or white? Last two elections they tried to settle this, it did not settle. This argument is going on big time, is God white or black? They do not know because God did not go to those countries. He sent only His son or His messenger, whatever. They have not seen God, they don't know, they are still arguing. In India we know God is brown. Because God came here Himself 9 times, you know, 9 times. 10th time is just about to come. We know God is brown, we know everything about Him because He came here Himself. Especially outside the country, Indians are very proud. God came to our country 9 times. I keep reminding them that's because God wouldn't trust anybody with Indians. He wanted to do the job hands-on. And He came 9 times and He failed. 9 or 10 times you can debate, failure you cannot debate, isn't it? So, this idea has come to us because we crawled out of our mother's wombs and we came out, so much creation. You looked at your mother, did she do it? Well, she delivered you, she couldn't have delivered the planet. You looked at your father, did he do it? He doesn't look like that. You looked at every other adult, nobody seems to be competent to create all this. Too phenomenal. If you spend a lifetime on a leaf, you still cannot understand the leaf in its entirety. With all the scientific exploration, we still do not know a single atom in its entirety, we know it in parts. So such a complex creation, who created? So the simple answer is, there is one big man sitting up there. The first mistake we have made is to believe that existence is human-centric. It is not. And looking up, Upperwala, see, you're sitting on a round planet, not even on the North Pole, in Vijayawada, here on the planet. If you look up, you're looking in the wrong direction. And on top of it, the planet is spinning. Invariably, everybody is looking in the wrong direction. Every time you look up, you're looking in the wrong direction. Do you really know which is up and down in this universe, I'm asking you? Do you know? Is it marked somewhere this side up? Does somebody know which is up and which is down in this universe? So these are okay for children. If you're looking for solace, it's all right to believe something. If you're looking for a solution, it's time to explore. Because the only gateway of experience that you have to the existence is yourself and yourself alone. Yes or no? You cannot experience something that's happening here, please see this. Right now, somebody next to you, if they touch your hand, you think you're experiencing their hand. No, you're only experiencing the sensations in your hand. The only and only access point to life and its experience and to the existence that you have is this one. Nothing else but this one. If you use this, if you open this up, this will become a doorway. If you close this will become a wall. This is the experience of a human being. They're experiencing themselves either as a wall or as a possibility, depending upon have they opened the possibility or have they shut it. Now, it is time we explore these things at least in small measures. Not everybody may be able to go into the ultimate dimension of yoga, but everybody is capable of at least a few minutes of turning inward. It will transform one's life if 1 minute a day, if you turn inward. If you truly turn inward, the very fundamental quality of your life can be transformed if you can be every moment joyful by your own nature, irrespective of what's happening around you. Is it a great transformation for you? I think this is very rudimentary, but even this has not happened to the whole population. If you are given a choice, what kind of people would you like to live with and work with? Joyful people or miserable people? Please, I want all of you to remember, everybody else is expecting the same thing. They also want to live with joyful people. Nobody wants to live with a miserable human being. You may have a reason for your misery. There is no reason for misery. You lost perspective of life, that's the only reason for misery. You have lost control over the faculties of your memory and imagination, in the sense, what happened 10 years ago, still suffering. Yes or no? Yes. What may happen day after tomorrow, already suffering. Because all that's happened is, two wonderful qualities that human being has is an enormous sense of memory and imagination. Both have gone berserk. You don't know how to use your memory, you don't know how to use your imagination. That's why you're suffering your yesterday and your tomorrow. Both of them don't exist, isn't it? Something that does not exist, if you suffer. If you suffer something that does not exist, is it sanity or insanity? Don't tell me, it's okay. I got it. Right now, what happened 10 years ago, does it exist? Does it exist? No. If you're suffering it, is it not insanity? What may happen day after tomorrow, does it exist? No. If you already suffer it, is it not insanity? Your only comfort is everybody is like this only. That's how it will be when you're in the asylum. How else will it be? Everybody will be like that only. That does not mean it's right. See, it doesn't matter how much logic you have for your suffering. It is illogical, because your suffering is happening just because of this. You lost control over your mental and physical faculties, that's all. They're not taking instructions from you, because you have already made it clear. If they took instructions from you, you would keep it ecstatic, that's what you said. The only reason why it's not ecstatic is you lost control over it. That's all it is. So taking charge of it. Shall we do something today, a little bit? Shall we? Can I trust you with eyes closed? So what we will do is, it's a very simple process. All of you breathing? Please check, please check. Don't take this for granted. They're not going to be there forever. Oh, I'm always breathing. Nobody breathes always. Inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. Next inhalation did not happen, poof. You're a big man gone. Wherever we look, you're not there. People think you're hanging in a chinta tree. What? A tamarind tree. No, you can climb a tamarind tree and see nobody hanging there. Yes or no? Next exhalation happened, inhalation did not come in, poof. Such a big man, just poof, gone. Now death always only happens to somebody, not to you and me, of course. Isn't it? It's always somebody else who dies, not you and me. No, it will come to you and me. And I'll bless you with a long life. But even with a blessing, one day you will die, isn't it? Is it all right? Because I can only teach mortal human beings. Those immortal ones, they're immune to all knowing. Ignorance is the only way for them. Your mortality is the basis of your existence here. If you're conscious that this is… You may think, I'm going here, I'm going there, I came to satsang, I'm going to cinema, I'm going to that place, I'm going to this place. No. As far as your body is concerned, it's going straight to the grave. We can slow it down. By doing yoga, we can slow it down further. But anyway it's going, isn't it? Not changing direction. You think it's going this way and this way? No, it's going straight to the grave all the time. Yes or no? So, this is a mortal thing. Just see how fragile… I want you to watch your breath and see how fragile. In, out, in, out, in, out. In did not happen, poof. That's how fragile it is. At the same time, see how sturdy it is, how many things a man can do. The design is so perfect that it's kept on such fragile balance. This is why we bow down to the Creator, because just if you pay attention to any part of the creation, you can't help bowing down to whatever created this, isn't it? Too fantastic. Just see. If this doesn't come in, you die. So fragile, right here. But how sturdy, how many things this can do. So, this breath, or what conducts the breath in yoga, we call this the kurma nadi. You know what's a kurma? Not kurma. No, I saw some tongues. Kurma means a turtle or a tortoise, an amphibious creature. It's in the water, but it can also venture out. So, you can become an amphibious creature if you master this kurma nadi. That means you are in the body, but you can be little outside the physical nature, because this is your desire. Your desire is not to leave the physical for good. You want to be rooted in the physical, but you want to have a taste of what is beyond. This is human desire, always. In trying to see everything that you're doing, please look at this. Whether you are going out to conquer the world, you get married, you bear children, you do this, you drink, you go to temple, you drug, you do whatever the hell you want. Essentially, all that you're looking for is, you want a bigger experience of life, isn't it? Yes or no? The only way your life's experience can be enhanced is by expanding your perception. If your eyes can see something that it cannot see right now, your experience is enhanced. If your ears can hear something that you cannot hear something right now, your experience is enhanced. Like this, if your perception is enhanced, only then your experience is enhanced. Otherwise, you're only going on imagining things within the limited data that you have already gathered. Yes? The only way to enhance is to expand or to come out. So kurma nadi, this breath is referred to as kurma nadi, because if you use it properly, you can become like an amphibious creature, that you can be in the body but you can venture outside. This is like a rope. Let's say we pull out your breath right now. If I take away your breath, what will happen? You and your body will fall apart. Right now in your experience, you are the body sitting here, but this rice and chinchataku and gomakura, everything is gathered up here and sitting here. Yes or no? Yes. Food that you've eaten, is this an accumulation? Do you understand this is an accumulation? What you accumulate can be yours, can never ever be you, isn't it? Yes? I can say, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, but if I say, this is me, this is me, this is me, lost it, isn't it? Whatever you accumulate can be yours, can never ever be you. So the moment if I pull the breath away, then you and what you have gathered will fall apart. You and your body will fall apart. Or in other words, it's the breath or the kurma nadi which ties you and your body together. When we say kurma nadi, we are not just talking about the passage of air. Right now you're incapable of experiencing the breath, in the sense, see right now if you watch, you think you're watching the breath, no. You're only noticing the sensations caused by the passage of breath. You're not capable of knowing the breath itself. So the breath, or what sets up this pattern, what directs this pattern, that we are calling as Kurmanadi. If you have some mastery over that, you become an amphibious creature. That is, you are rooted in the physical, but you can venture out. If this much freedom arises in human life, suddenly you know there is another possibility, that there is something beyond physical nature. Whatever you're going through within this physical cocoon is not everything, you know a completely different dimension of life. If this one thing you know, if you have a moment of experience beyond your physicality, death is not an issue, isn't it? If you know life beyond your physical body right now, death is not an issue. Death is a big issue because you know nothing beyond the body. When they threaten to take it away, there is terror in people simply because everything that you know is going away. If you knew something beyond the body, suddenly this would not be such a big problem. And it is not a problem. It is a solution for all our problems that we are mortal. If you are here, let's say next million years you're not going to go, that is a problem, isn't it? We must live our span and we must go. That's a good thing. Anyway, now you are breathing, is it confirmed? Those at the back, you breathing too? Okay. You have breath. You have thoughts, isn't it? Always? Always thoughts? Always thoughts means, don't think you're intellectual, it means you're having a mental diarrhea. Yes. See, my hand is here. If I want to do something, this hand will do something. If I don't want it, it sits here. This is a very useful hand. If I want, it does something. If I don't want, it sits here. Similarly with my mind, if I want, it will do something. If I don't want, it will sit here. This would be a very fantastic mind. But now, my hand is in such a state, simply it is doing something all the time. This is called an ailment. So, the same is true with the mind. Simply all the time it's doing something. This is not normal state, this is an ailment. As I said, only consolation is everybody is like this only. Don't think everybody is like this. A whole lot of people have fallen into the trap, that's different. But not everybody is like that. So, you have thoughts and you have breath. Let's make use of what we have, because I want you to understand this one fundamental fact. You can never work with what you don't have. You can only work with what you have. Yes or no? You may aspire for what you don't have, but you cannot work with what you don't have, yes? Whether it's in the material world or in the inner nature. Right now, let's work with what we have, because you cannot work with… The moment you say spiritual, somebody will start talking about heaven, somebody will talk about God, somebody will talk about soul. No. These are not things you can work with. You can aspire for them. You cannot work with them. To work with, you need a body, you need a mind, you need energies, you need breath. You have breath, you have thought. Let's use this. See, right now can you see the air moving? Can you see? Good. I thought some veteran satsangis start seeing the air moving. But air is moving, in and out, at least it's moving, isn't it? Otherwise we couldn't live. So, suppose we light one agarbatti here. There is little smoke. Now you can see if the air is moving this way or that way simply because of the bit of smoke. Similarly, you can't see the breath, nor can you feel it. You can feel it because of the sensations of the body. That is not breath, it is only the sensations of the body. You must understand, sensations of the body can be stimulated in so many ways. Right now, if you touch like this, what sensation happens here? Without touching also you can create this sensation. Human mind is capable of creating any sensation you want, yes? So, sensations are not reliable like that. So you are not experiencing the breath, you are knowing only the sensation stimulated by the passage of air to some extent. So what we will do is, we will add something to your breath so that you will be able to somewhat experience it. Over a period of time it will become more tangible. With inhalation we will add one thought, with exhalation we'll add another thought. Like this we will go on for some time. You must sit with your spine erect, hands open like this. With inhalation one thought, exhalation one thought. We do this with eyes closed, with a slightly upturned face, the mildly upturned face. After we will do this for some time, later in the end, when I say ah, all of you say ah, open your mouth, clearly say ah, exhaling completely into this sound. We will do this sound ah 7 times. The science behind it, everything, we will look at it later, but right now we'll just do this, okay? What we do is, with inhalation, we will add a thought. I am not this body, I am not the body. With exhalation, I am not even the mind. Because what you call as body is an accumulation of food. What you call as mind is an accumulation of impressions that you have taken in from outside. So, inhalation, I am not the body. Exhalation, I am not even the mind. I will assist you from outside with your eyes closed, with your face slightly upturned. With inhalation and exhalation, you do these 2 thoughts and later on we do the sound ah. I am not the body, inhalation. I am not even the mind, exhalation. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. Take your own time. Take your own time. Slowly. Very slowly. Open your eyes.